Hi. So, welcome to another episode of Chaos in the Republic. Um, I'm just gonna get right into the video. I want you guys to imagine you live in a country where electricity vanishes like magic, water taps act like part-time staff, and the roads seems like they've been built to test your vehicle's shock absorbers, like your struts. And waste management, well, that just depends on how creative you and your neighbors are. Well, let me tell you, this is exactly what Nigeria's utility system looks like. We barely have any infrastructure put down. But this is not just even about me complaining. This video, I want to break down the state of Nigeria's utility infrastructure, from water to electricity to roads to solid waste and sewage management. So, this first chapter, we're going to discuss electricity. It's the most famous of, it's not just the most famous, but it's the most essential in my opinion, like a bit more essential than water, because with electricity you can get water. So at least in my house. So let's start with that. And in Nigeria we actually still call it NEPA, even though it was sold to PHN, which was a private company at the time, I think. Right now, the we generate about 37 terawatt hours of electricity per year. Now that does sound like a lot, but then you look at a country like Canada, where they generate over 600 terawatt hours, and that's like I think that's about 15 to 17 times more, with a population that is 6 times smaller. Canada has about, I think, maybe, if they are lucky, 50 million people. We have going close to 250 now. So that's just like the population density is what I'm trying to say is ridiculous compared to the amount of electricity that we are producing. So let's talk about reliability. According to surveys, only 13% of Nigerians enjoy anything close to reliable electricity. What happens to the rest? We're talking about blackouts, brownouts, and the consistent. Well, I don't think they do that as much anymore, but you can tell nowadays it's the sound of your nearby inverter that beeps, like beep, when the power comes back on. Um, so historically, like I was saying earlier, NEPA was renamed PHCN. It was privatized in 2013. Yeah, so that's over a decade now, and restructured with high hopes. But today, much of our installed capacity sits idle. Why? Gas shortages, vandalization of pipelines, aging plants, and our transmission grid is. I made this joke to my brother the other day. I was like, we don't have a national grid in this country. What we have is a national collection of wires, because there ain't no grid. Um. So, and I think the solutions to fix these issues are actually sitting right in front of our faces. And what do I mean by this? Clearly, the industry needs to be regulated. The privatization hasn't really done anything to help with consistent electricity. But Nigerians are still paying. Just recently at our house here, our power bill went up through the roof. And if anything, the service has gotten worse since then. So my question now is, what do we need to do? I think either the government steps in and regulates the industry, or the we as a people need to diversify the ways at which we get electricity, because now solar panels are a thing that exists, right? And you can do these panels on a grid level, meaning you can install enough that if everybody on the street contributes, you could install one that services all the houses on that street, for example, right? And what do you have in that situation? You have a situation where the individuals have created a solution to their own problem. More investment in transmission. These private companies, since I've been back, the way I've seen how they handle the business, it's clearly about extracting as much money as they can possibly extract from Nigerians, with very little investment being put into expanding our capacity or addressing the reasons why the already existing capacity is not being utilized. Um, Tariffs as well. The the Nigerian government, and this is what I mean by regulation, the Nigerian government need to really sit up. They need to step up. Like, I'm sorry, but in this day and age, the a country like Nigeria's, and this is one of my biggest problems with my country. We we want to be the best. We want to be the greatest, but s- numbers and statistics will show across the continent that's not even true. We're not even going to leave the continent. In West Africa, that's not even true. So I think I think we need to focus more on. I think the government needs to come in and regulate these industries to in as an act as a barrier between us and the holding companies that bought these rights, in order for us not to get extracted and fleeced from our money while getting the bare minimum service. And I think until we do that, we are all gonna keep running generators, which not only pollute the air with fumes, but also they pollute the air with the incessant noise. And the power is gone in Nigeria. After a while, you get used to it. It's like white noise, but I think we can start here to add. We can start here in order for us to try addressing the issue we are currently facing with electricity. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll get back to the next topic, which is the water supply. So, like I said, I'm gonna go through each one, talk a little bit on them, and then towards the end, we'll see if there's actually a way we can address these issues. We're gonna talk about the water supply. Um, Nigeria is blessed with a lot of water. Like on paper, we are water rich. We have everything from rivers to rainforests to aquifers to underground water. We have all of that. Yet, 77% of Nigerians lack safely managed drinking water, which means only 1 in 4 households has water piped to their homes. Right? That's about, yeah, give or take about 25% of the population only has access to water. What does that mean? For most people, water comes from boreholes. Like in my house here, we have a borehole. We do have a pipe from the city or from the Lagos state government, but then it pretty much never has water. Like when you turn it on, water doesn't come out. So we had to get a borehole. Um, and then, like I was mentioning, you can either have homes where they have boreholes, wells, or they still get water from like a water vendor, like those guys that have the wheelbarrow things. In rural areas, many still fetch waters from streams, which fuel outbreaks of diseases like cholera and typhoid. In fact, the UNICEF says about 70,000 children die yearly from waterborne illnesses in Nigeria, and this is 2025. It's 2025. Meanwhile, you look at other countries, you just turn on the tap and drink. Like, the only thing I do when I was living in Canada, the only thing I needed to do when I bought my water was, and it was because I decided to, was I got a breeder filter, the cheapest one, and I would put my water through that before I drank it. So that was really it. Um, so in countries, in other countries, especially in the West, you have a situation where it's pretty much 100% coverage when it comes to water, and the water is safe. The water goes through rigorous testing. There's entire county or city agencies that make sure they don't just identify water sources, but they protect them, they test them, they treat them before they then pipe it to people's houses. So what's our solution here in Nigeria? I think we need to invest in treatment plants. We need to expand. We need to protect more water sources. So meaning enacting laws like no no drilling or pollution allowed within a certain vicinity of a water source, and at least it has to be downhill from the water source. No, no, there's rules that can be put in place, ensuring that when I said infrastructure earlier, ensuring that you have the infrastructure, and that literally means the pipes in the ground that will be able to take this water from the treatment facilities over to people's houses, right? And these treatment facilities, they have to be up to standard, meaning they are using sedimentation, they are using chemical, they are using ozonization or ozone, the one where they pump ozone through the water in order to also as a form of treating it as well. And then to take it a step further, add a bit of fluorine to the water so that way the water can actually help towards, because I think that they still do that in some parts in the West. So there's so many things we can do. Is going in and just, I think Nigeria's problem is sometimes I feel like the government put it there one time and they were like, well, that's it now. We put in water, so we're never gonna need to touch this again till the end of this republic. Like, no, like we need to address the real issues here. And another big issue is the culture of underpricing water, right? Water is a resource and a service just like any other resource and service. We need to price it appropriately, right? Now, does that mean you gouge people out of it? No. But it means companies that are coming here and having bottling plants in the country, they should get charged appropriately. If you're going to be using our water, whether it's from a natural water source or from the eventually municipally treated water, you pay for it. That's just the whole point of that. So we won't get too stuck on that. We'll move on to the next one, roads, which is the biggest one, which is the one I really want to talk about. So yeah, so for the roads, right? Roads. I've been back for over a year and a half now, and I'm like I'm glad sometimes that Uber exists here, because as much as I love to drive, and I do love to drive, and I don't think driving in this country is difficult, especially if you're someone who drives defensively. I don't think it's difficult at all. I think the problem with Nigerians is they take everything as a suggestion, especially when they're on the road. So if you are not a defensive driver, you will get upset. You'll find yourself having a road rage. You you could potentially even have a sheep mentality and then end up giving up your own driving discipline in order to be just like everyone else around you. So now, out of almost 200,000 kilometers of roads that we have in Nigeria, only 60,000 kilometers of them are paved. And even those 60,000 kilometers paved, in my opinion, simply means there's the presence of gravel and tar. Like, because half the stretch of the road will be covered in potholes that are so big. If it rained, you wouldn't want to take the risk of going at a full speed, because the water would make it look like the hole was not that deep, only for you to go in and then your tire literally spins out from your vehicle. Like, so exactly. And potholes are just in this country. When I came back, we traveled to a couple states. We went to Ilorin, we went to Osun State, we went to Ibadan, we went to Abeokuta, and we went with a vehicle. Nigerian roads are horrible. Like, they are truly horrible. We need to deal with it. Like, we really need to deal with it. And I'm coming from Canada, where they have a country highway system. God, Newfoundland, every summer, roads are being patched. In fact, you get used to it when you start driving, because once the snow stops falling, the patch vehicles are out, patching the little spots on the road. Sometimes they do and redo entire roads, because that's the only way you can maintain the quality of these things, right? Like, they spend money on yearly maintenance, money. But what does it mean? It means it increased the safety for drivers, it increased the efficiency of the roads. It also means, as much as they are spending on that maintenance, they are saving themselves from spending three, four, five times more money on rebuilding the road when it eventually is pretty much no longer usable. So that's it. I think the solutions for this, to me, again, just like all of these, are very simple. Regular maintenance budgets. Corruption in Nigeria is holding so many things back. Imagine if we had regular maintenance budgets. There were toll roads for the ones that got the maximum traffic, or however they want to determine that. We need to upgrade our road standard. They will give somebody contracts to do road, and he will go and get a pavement brick and be lining road. No, do it up to the standard that is required. Connect it to the gutter lines, so that way we are not having to deal with most of all this. I don't know if you get what I mean. And then as well, we need to also enforce all of these things. Like, the federal government needs to create a program where they can track how these states or counties or municipalities are spending that maintenance money, because this is another way to tackle construction, right? We need to when these roads eventually gets fixed, we need to really enforce that people in this country need to go to driving school. Okay, Nigerians need to learn the rules of the road. Everybody feels like, because they are in a vehicle, they deserve to take the turn first. They deserve to go ahead of you, because you are no, respect the rules of the road. If you cannot pass a road test, you are not getting a driver's license. If you cannot pass a driving test, you're not getting a driver's license. And even after you do that, you will come back every 5 years, and when you go past a certain age, it will become yearly, or biannually, whichever one. So we need to enforce these things. Like, I'm not gonna chat too much on this. I mean, I have said a lot, but I'll move on to the next one. The next one is solid waste. So I'll give you guys a break, and then we'll do solid waste and sewage, and then we'll wrap up the video. So solid waste. Let's quickly just step into our own trash for a moment. Like, as per Nigerian to Nigerian, we produce about 32 million tons of waste yearly, but only 30% of it is collected. Think about that. Just take a second to think about that. 32 million tons of waste yearly, but we only collect 30% of it. Where do you think the rest is going into? It's going into the gutters, it's going into dump sites, it's getting burnt on the streets. Lagos, one of the biggest cities in the country, half the time smells like mystery meat. Because the other day I was coming back from the National Stadium, right there at Akirili. I saw a dead body under the bridge, and I'm not joking. There was a dead body under the bridge. You're living beside people who, rather than have what we call they call it in Nigeria a soccer away. They flush their excrements outside into the gutters, and the gutters themselves that they use to flush this are not closed. So when they flush their excrement, you're smelling it all day. Or is it the mechanic village that is close to your house that sprays fumes into the air? Like they just don't care. Recycling, we don't do. Uh, 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 Official city waste collection, inefficient. So it's not in Lagos. They do have city waste collection. I think every Thursday in my area is sanitation. So you can't even open your shop until 10 o'clock. I think it's every Thursday. So there is sanitation day, yes, but then where are they packing this waste to? How are they disposing of it? Is there any treatment that is going on? Like, these are questions that we need to know that they are being answered. We need to learn how to recycle. Yes, you can technically put anything in the trash, but if you go to countries like Germany, your trash will be denied. Like, it's a culture they've ingrained in there. You separate the plastics, you separate the metals, you separate the glass, then there's trash like the compost, that's the paper or the meat or leftover pasta or whatever it is that you're throwing out that can decompose. Like, we need to invest in so many things in this country. But I do think there are solutions. That's the one thing about my videos. I will always try to give a solution because I don't like people who complain. But then they make it clear they are just complaining. They don't have any intention to sit down or think or even entertain a solution. So what can we do? We can integrate waste management, real landfills, community recycling, and waste to energy plants. So that's the plants that burn the waste and collect carbon. In exchange for burning that waste, they get energy back. If they are able to implement it properly, then yeah, I think a waste to energy plant is a perfect solution. We also need to change our way of thinking, that we can just, like, we don't respect each other enough. If you respected your neighbor, you will not carry your trash out and burn it in front of your house. You won't flush your excrement down the wall of the wall of the fence that you're sharing, so that he can breathe in your poop particles. Like, it's just a lack of respect thing. I think we need to start showing more decorum and respect to one another. Half of the reason why the Nigeria's health care and the health industry cannot guarantee a high level of of the healthy population is that we are taking all of these things for granted. Electricity is bad, so even the ones that are in the hospital can't get the kind of care they need. Water is bad, So by default, 1 out of 4 homes stand the risk of dying from diseases like cholera, and I don't know, whichever one you can get from drinking dirty water. Then you have roads. Roads. Someone is sick in their house. They need to get to the hospital. By the time they go from their house to the hospital, they've entered 5 different potholes. Now that trip that should have just cost them the fuel to get to the hospital and whatever they were paying monthly on insurance, now they are going to have to pay to fix their vehicle as well. They are still going to pay the full bill ahead of time, and depending on the hospital you're going to, they could require you to put down a deposit because there's no insurance. So what exactly are we really doing? Mostly, so for me that's really like we need to we need to address these things before they start becoming a serious problem for us. So you guys should keep an eye out for that episode. I'm it's the reason why I wanted to talk about it. Why I started the Republic in Chaos in the Republic line of episodes. It's because I really that was my first inspiration, but I wanted to build up a track record of okay, our universities are bad, which is would also speak to the quality of education our doctors are getting, quality of education our people are getting. Then the infrastructure is horrible, which is that. So there are going to be videos down the line that would also still speak to that. But we'll go to the next topic, which is sewage and sanitation. Finally, let's talk about what happens after nature calls. Only 1 in 4 Nigerians has access to improved sanitation. About 22% of people still shit in public, and I've seen this before. Does not just shit, like someone is shitting right here, another person is pissing right here, just by some wall. And it doesn't even matter if the wall looks like it belongs to a house that people are living in, they're just doing it. In cities, only Lagos and parts of Abuja have partial sewer networks. Everywhere else, it's pit latrines, septic tanks. I told you, soccerways. We call them soccerways here, but they are called septic tanks. Or let's be honest, drains. Treatment plants are pretty much yeah. That's a dream. It was all a dream. It's a dream. We don't have treatment plants in this country. And what's the cost of that? It means fecal contamination everywhere. You have to be. I don't think someone who's a germaphobe can exist in Nigeria. I don't think so. Like you have to be somehow an ignorant germaphobe because with the amount of fecal contamination everywhere, our people are still having cholera outbreaks, and this means thousands of preventable deaths every year. Imagine in the 21st century, 2025, we are still having cholera outbreaks. 25 minutes into a 100-minute match. It's crazy. And again, I'll give you a bit of a contrast. Countries in the West, I'm talking, when you say sanitation is covered, it's covered. There's a municipal treatment plant. Everybody's pipe from your toilet leads into the sewer. From the sewer, it takes it to the treatment plant. They treat that water to the point, sometimes they treat it to the point where they can even feed some of it back for drinking, or they treat it just enough that they can then dispose it into the nearby source, and it doesn't affect the quality of the water or the life that already lives in the water. So I'm saying these systems are constantly monitored, constantly maintained, upgraded if they need to be, because this is how serious this is. They know that taking care of your health is not just about having a good healthcare system. It's a holistic process. It's holistic. Everything needs to be involved. So again, you know me. What solutions could we possibly have? Investment. the theme of today's story is the government needs to invest. If they can invest in more treatment plants, provide public toilets to government housing, uh, provide toilets to government housing, and public toilets being made available, as many of them as possible. And when you make public toilet available, you either enforce the rule that they are to be cleaned by the people who use them, or you hire people who will come in and do the cleaning. Either one. Um, so education campaign to shift behavior. There's so many. There are so many behaviors that we have as Nigerians that I think with some consistent, non-invasive public education campaigns, we can actually start seeing a shift in that. Like, because countries have had success with this. Look at India; they had a whole toilet building campaign. So I think right now we need to just the government needs to be doing more for us. The government really needs to be doing more for us. And I know I'm what's that adage when you are talking to deaf ears or something like that? They don't care. They don't care. So if they're not going to do it for us, let's do it for ourselves. Let's do it for our kids, please. So I'll give you guys a bit of a break, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll do the conclusion, and I'll let you guys go.
This is you ending fire, and we shall all burn together. Watch the flames climb.
So based on what you guys have watched, right? What do you think? Do you think the situation isn't really that bad, or we are really going through it right here in Nigeria? These infrastructures, electricity, water, roads, waste management, sewage, they really, in my opinion, they aren't conveniences. They are the backbone of our public health, our economic growth, and our national pride. I this like I don't know how to say it, so I'm not gonna speak out of turn, but I think our story is a story of potential that is blocked by neglect. Like, we have so much potential to be so many things, but we just don't put in the time and the effort. It's like it's like someone who has the potential to beat Michael Phelps, but thinks he can just do that by not even trying to train as close as Michael Phelps trained. Like, Michael Phelps is the Olympic swimmer guy. Like, we have rivers, we have sunshine, the people, the ideas, but yet no infrastructure, the zero. And then you countries outside and in the West, Canada, for example, this they've shown you that doing putting your money into these things, investing into these things, making sure there's plans to maintain them on a regular basis actually helps. But we neglect things. We neglect things, and it's not good. It's not good. So the solutions do exist. For electricity, we have solar powers to 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 road infrastructure improvements, community toilets, recycling startup. Progress is possible. What we really need is investment. What we really need is accountability to fight corruption. What we really need is the fact that we really need a public education program that can instill in us the willpower to understand that these things are not afterthoughts. Having a clean environment is not an afterthought. Having a system that can add to my pride as a Nigerian is not an afterthought. So I think that's pretty much what I want to say on that topic today. Um, so as usual, also I'm gonna try and append this to the other videos as well. But I've started posting up full copies of the scripts on on Medium. So you can go on Medium. Not all episodes are on there, of course. Episodes like this that are designed to be like video essays. I have the full script with my research, everything. So I've posted them on Medium. So you guys should go on Medium, read if you want more information. If you really don't need more, that's fine. But go on Medium, read, do the research, read up, and yeah, just you guys should let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really happy again you stayed up to this point for the video. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think our infrastructure is just fine? I would think there's a problem with you if you think that. But do you think the infrastructure is just fine? Do you think it could be better? Do you think how long do you think it would take? Do you think there's the problem is just the politicians, or do you think it's the people and it's the politicians? So just let me know what you think. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. Please, please, please follow us on social media. We have all the platforms. It's all soft chaos media. So we have TikTok, Instagram, X, blah 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 blah. So search for us, and yeah. Until next time, may your roads be smooth, your taps flowy, and your lights stay on, unlike mine. So have a good day, guys, and be nice in the comments. Bye.
New videos uploaded every week. So subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy the journey.